Hello, welcome to the Rough Characters podcast. I am Philip Overby,
And I'm John Palladino.
and we are back with another episode. For those of you that have been watching on YouTube, thanks for doing that, and any views are good. This is kind of still trying to build up, a good amount of episodes. We don't really promote this very much. We just kind of do it for fun. So if you enjoy, listening to us talk, then please let us know, and then we're happy to share our thoughts about various things. So today's topic, we wanted to talk about different character types that we enjoy through different types of mediums. It could be games, movies, TV, books, whatever. Um, so before we get into that, I wanted to talk about some news. And today's news is video news. Wow. It's advanced technology. So I'm going to play this short clip of this video, and then me and John will react to it here. I think I have to share sound. Maybe not.
There's no audio, is there?
Okay, that's enough of that. I think the audio kind of went wacky there, probably.
I didn't hear any audio, but
Oh, you didn't hear anything? Okay.
no. But I saw the video and I knew it was coming, and now it's announced, and that's really cool.
Yeah, so June 20th, I think, is the official Kickstarter launch. Um, I'm not so much interested in the miniatures myself. I'm more just interested in the role play game and using the cards. And
Yeah, that's the game sounds like it could be really cool.
so if that audio sounded weird, then sorry, or you could or you couldn't hear anything.
I didn't hear anything, so I don't know if it went through or not. But
Okay.
it's very exciting. Are you going to back it?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I might as well too. Although I don't know, I'm not a big Kickstarter guy. Something about that has always like not, I don't know, it's just something about Kickstarter I don't like. I think it's like the really long wait for things. Like I think I got Gloomhaven through Kickstarter, Frosthaven, and the Divinity Original Sin board game that still hasn't come out. But I actually didn't pay for any of those myself. They were all like birthday gifts and stuff. And I've paid for a couple role playing, tabletop role playing like books for
hmm.
different like Dungeons and Dragons, really, but not made by Wizards of the Coast, of course. Um, I don't have anything against it, but I just hate the idea of either, I forget how it works, but it's either like you're paying your money now, I think, and then you have to wait like an ungodly length of time. And that is annoying to me. And we've all seen many a Kickstarter go awry and that sucks if you lose your. So I'm always very careful with who I trust on Kickstarter, but for me, it's just the wait. The Divinity Original Sin game I've been waiting for years for,
Mm.
like very excited, and now I'm like not really excited for it, and it's still not even out. So,
Well,
if I get it, I get it.
that's kind of a as someone who's used Kickstarter multiple times, that is kind of a big downside of it. If it's like something you're legitimately excited about and you have to wait like a really long time, then it can suck. But at the same time, um, I think it's cool to see. It's almost like seeing how the sausage is made, but like in a good way sometimes, because they show you each step of the way. And they have the stretch goals, which are cool. Like the more money they make, the more stuff they add to it. And I think that's why Gloomhaven became such a huge game to begin with. People
Yeah,
love,
those stretch goals were crazy.
yeah, the people love the idea of the game so much that the stretch goals just kept getting bigger and bigger, and you could see behind me the huge ass box. Um,
Frosthaven's like so much bigger than that.
well, Frosthaven's on the floor over there.
Yeah.
So I'm not adverse to Kickstarter. I mean, I can see why people are hesitant about it, but what the thing I usually do with Kickstarter is like if I back something, it's almost like when you send a book to a publisher to get published or agent, and you just send it, and then you're like, okay,
Okay.
now do something else. That's what people say. Like, if you just sit around waiting for it, it's like
Yeah.
it eats you up kind of. Whereas if you just submit something and like, okay, now I'm going to work on something else, then it's much easier to deal with. And I guess Kickstarter is the same. Like once I back something, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna just keep up with what's going on with the campaign, and then if something happens, it happens. And there's risk in that, but I rarely back people that are just like brand new out of the gate. They're always like, you know, kind of trusted that
Yeah. I
they're
think video games are the major like don't back thing on Kickstarter.
seems like it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been some cool ones that have come out through Kickstarter, but um yeah, just the I seem to hear more bad things about like game related Kickstarters
Yeah.
because so many things can go wrong. But
And I think people underestimate how much it costs to like develop games too.
yeah. Um so anyway, that was the news. I'm seeing more information about it since we're getting closer to the date, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'll be interested in seeing how combat and stuff works with the card decks. I mean, I think that'll be kind of fun.
Mm,
It's always, I don't know, I think it's more fun. Those decks are just a lot of fun to use as opposed to like dice. Like I love rolling dice, but the card decks in general and the way you upgrade them and stuff, I just think that is such a cool mechanic, and it's suited for like a tabletop RPG super well.
yeah. So yeah, that's it about that. So let's get into the main topic of today, character types that we like in games or movies or TV, books, etc. And I'll start with one of mine, which might be easy to predict if anyone's ever listened to me talk. Um, I like I tend to like uh, kind of characters that are like Monster Hunter, Bounty Hunter kind of characters. So anytime there's a book or a movie or something that's like this is about a monster hunter, or something like The Witcher or like The Mandalorian, like I just like that idea of people that their profession is making money by fighting things or killing things or hunting them down. I've just always been fascinated with those types of characters. And, in my own stories, I like to include those types of characters. So not so much like mercenaries that just like don't care about anything and just want money, but like um, just people that's their job. Like in the world, there's like, blacksmiths or, armorers or, servants or whatever, nobles. But then there's like people like that's their job is like, oh, we're going to hire the Witcher to come in and like, it just sounds cool. We're going to bring in the Witcher to kill this, whatever it's called. Skeckleby or whatever. It's always got some
Yeah,
weird ass name.
yeah, true. I also really like bounty hunters. I'm less a fan of like monster hunter stuff because I don't know. I think it's less the job or character type and more the like world and kind of stuff that happens with those. Like I don't know. I mean, I really like the Witcher show, at least the early, season two. I liked. I know that's kind of like a issue if you've read the books, but I liked it. I haven't read the books, so I don't know what people are talking about when they say it isn't following the stuff that's established. And
Mm.
I did really like the games, though. It was really fun to play as the Witcher in the games, and fighting each of the different monsters was really fun. But I think watching and reading that type of like different monster stuff, like to me, is not as interesting as playing it.
Yeah, just like you said, I guess it depends on the world or whatever.
Right.
If it's just kind of like generic, then it's not as interesting. But I feel like in the book, specifically the Witcher books, like each story is kind of like a specific monster hunt in a way. So, and
Right.
the monster hunt isn't even it's almost like a Walking Dead kind of thing. Like hunting the monster is not really the issue in the it's kind of a thing, but there's some deeper like personal thing happening or some political thing happening that's connected to it. So the story, like if it's just a guy like going to kill a monster and getting some money, then it doesn't have as much impact. But like I think in one of the first Witcher stories I read that I really liked was about the I can't remember what the name of the monster is called right offhand, but it's basically the girl is a princess or something and she goes missing, and then it turns out she's like this like creature that like eats people or something, and it's like in a coffin or something. um but yeah, I like that kind of thing just because kind of gives flavor to the world, I guess, in a way. To me, it's like a world building thing also, if it's done well. So yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
just
mean,
depends.
I probably actually like a stereotypical mercenary more. I don't know why. There's something about like that grizzled mercenary douche that I just really like.
Mm.
But I didn't. Mercenary is not one of mine.
All right, what's your first one?
All right, my first one is like a. I wrote down like politician, but I guess I should kind of explain that more. I just really like the kind of maybe like non-combatant who is dealing with something, and maybe they're like really right about something, but they're going up against all these other more powerful politicians, or maybe they're a bad politician who's trying to manipulate things to kind of get what they want. But those like meetings between all the politicians and like arguing and like deception and manipulation and stuff. And I always really like that in shows and in books. I don't You don't really see that in games, I don't think so much. But I don't know. I just really like the council meetings, like in Game of Thrones, you had like the advisors, like the Master of Coin, and I can't remember the other ones because it's been so long. But I guess they're not necessarily completely politicians, but more like king advisors, and but just that kind of general role, I guess, and the different motivations coming in, and everyone wanting to try and benefit out of it, and everyone almost like knowing that everyone's kind of in it for their own motivations. I don't know. There's something about that I've always really been interested in.
And you still never read Dune or watched the movie or anything?
Okay, but like,
I keep
why I
saying,
won't read Dune.
yeah.
Yeah, you told me yourself, don't read Dune.
Well, yeah, I get. Well, I just have a feeling you wouldn't like it.
Right.
But I mean, politics is like the cool thing to me. The all the backstabbing and political ramifications and all the kind of intertwining relationships is the more interesting stuff in the Dune universe to me, rather than the uh sandworms and all the kind of
Right.
mystical whatever stuff.
But I mean, the second movie comes out soon, right?
Yes,
This year,
I hope so.
I think, right?
I
Uh,
would.
so once that comes out, I'll watch the first one and probably watch the second one if I like the first one.
Well, I think that's why people like Game of Thrones and shows like that, because it's got like that
Let's just
drama.
check.
It's got drama of the politics and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm. Dune Part 2 comes out November 3rd, it looks like.
Oh,
So it's not too far away.
that's good. Yeah, I like kind of political figures as well. I like sometimes characters that are like in over their head. It's just like
Yeah.
there's somebody that's always one step ahead of them, or just like more ruthless than they are, or willing to do things they're not willing to do. Kind of felt like a lot of that was in the House of the Dragon, where there were certain people that
Yeah.
were maneuvering things that were willing to just do anything, and then there was others that were like, well, that's kind of too far. But I mean, like, what's his name, the foot guy?
Oh, I forgot what his name is, but he was a great character. But that show is really good, but it never felt like we got to the point where like you really want to be. And I think season 2 is gonna just kickstart right there.
Hmm.
I think we both love that show like
Yeah.
a stupid amount. But like even though I love the show a ton, I'm like, oh my god, like I know this is about to blow up and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So, did you want to add anything else to that?
To politicians, I mean I don't think so. I think it's kind of a self-explanatory role. I just like it a lot. Although I will say that Star Wars does not do politics so well in the prequels.
Yeah,
That was a little boring, but um
that was that was a little boring.
I will say that the politics in I think it was in Revenge of the Sith. That was a lot better. But
Hmm.
uh Phantom Menace had oof, some
Yeah.
really boring trade disputes.
Okay, my second type is I kind of talked about this before on an episode we did about protagonist, and I think you kind of shit on my choices.
Oh no.
Um, but I like the kind of tragic hero trope, I guess, like the person that you as a reader or watcher or whatever, like you see the person and you know they're gonna die. You just don't know how or when, but they're just so blinded by everything around them that you can't help but feel like, sympathy for them, or like, why did you do that? And like, oh, you did that. Don't talk to that guy. And you're, as a viewer or whatever, you feel, pain. And I think that's why I bring up Ned a lot. um Ned Stark, because he's like the perfect example of that, and that his death was so shocking, and in the book, and then of course in the TV show, because people just assumed he had plot armor, like, oh, he's the main guy, so like
Yeah.
they're not gonna kill him. But he just going from one stupidly good, honorable decision to the next, and it's
Yeah, he
kind of
was like painfully honorable.
it's kind of like all the things that happen because of his death is what makes that kind of character interesting to me. Not necessarily like the character himself, but like all the things that are affected by that character. Like one of the first major, like, I guess, tragic heroes was Oedipus from the Greek tragedies, I guess, and didn't realize he was having relations with his daughter, or whatever the case was, and
I thought it
it.
was his mother, but
um Oedipus, yeah. Oh, it is his mother. Yeah,
okay.
I'm thinking of there's another one that's similar to that I think it's another family member or something. So
I'm
anyway,
sure those Greeks really liked their
yeah,
sex
yeah,
with anyone.
they were into that. But the reason that was such a strong story, I guess, was that he, like, you as the reader, you have what's called um I guess irony. I forget what type of irony it's called, narrative irony, or literary irony, or whatever it's called. But basically, you as the reader know he's doing that, and you're just kind of waiting for him to find out what he's doing. And that's kind of, even in modern dramas, that's a big hook. Like, people know the watchers know what's happening, but they're just waiting to see, like, oh, what's going to happen when he finds out this, or when she finds out this, whatever. So
Right.
I like those kind of like tragic characters, because they always uh bring, something special to the whatever they're in. Like King Viserys in the House of Dragon was a good example of that too. Like, he was kind of like, at the beginning, you're kind of like, this guy sucks. But then as time goes on, you're kind of like, man, I kind of feel bad for him. And then, because he's just like, he's really trying hard to like just keep his
Yeah.
family together.
And making terrible mistakes for
Yeah,
I don't
every
know.
every step of
For
the
right.
way. He
Yeah.
every step, he had two options, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna choose this option that's probably gonna get me killed. And then, oh, okay, here's another option. I'll probably choose this stupid option again. um but at the same time, you can see from his viewpoint, like, okay, that's the right decision to make in this, for him, either out of love or out of what he thinks is best for his family or whatever. um But yeah, I guess I like characters that are easily manipulated by like much smarter characters, but then I like to see the much smarter characters get their comeuppance later.
I think I have the opposite view. I like the other character who is doing the manipulating and stuff, but I do enjoy seeing the comeuppance as well. But typically I prefer that character over the like idiot that's being manipulated, unless it's not like an idiot manipulation, right? Because there's like kind of two forms of that where like the one you're like you're an idiot. But then there's the other one where it's like the reveal happens and your mind like blows up because like, it's supposed to be this crazy reveal. That one is always my preference.
Mm,
Uh yeah, if you're from the point of view of the person being manipulated.
mm. Yeah, so that's my second choice. What's your next one?
My next one is kind of ironic because in real life I hate these people. But in books they are often very funny and interesting, and that's like the alcoholic.
No,
So somebody that has, it doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol, but
addiction of
some
some
sort
sort.
of addiction. Yeah, it's just so funny. And I love having, they have this problem and they're constantly, and the best ones are the ones that are kind of aware of it and don't care. And they're always, I like it when they're like trying, but like then they're like kind of too inebriated to do anything.
Mm,
So they end up making like a mess of things. I think my favorite example of this is in the First Law series. Uh Casca is like one of the best characters ever.
mm.
I don't know if you have read about Nicomo Casca, but
Yeah, I've read
great character.
he's in he's in a couple of the different books.
Yeah, I
Uh
think he's like a very small side character in the First Law trilogy, and I might even be wrong on that. But then I think he's a major like point of view character in one of the standalones. I know that,
yeah.
and he might even be in two standalones. I think, but
And I know for sure he's in Best Served Cold.
okay,
And
yeah,
I think he might be in Red Country
yeah. It's
also.
been so long since I've read every single Abercrombie book like as it released, and I've never reread one, so
Mm.
I don't remember. But yeah, great character. I love Casca. He's so cool.
Yeah, I kind of
And
like.
Tyrion Lannister is another example, I think. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I kind of like characters that have some kind of like flaw. I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
whether it be, you know, whatever it is, blind loyalty or a gambling problem or whatever the thing
yes.
is, makes them feel more realistic because real people, you know, have these issues. Even even good people have issues like this, so it doesn't make them a bad person because they have some flaw, I guess.
Right.
um, we all have flaws, so it's good to see that in stories because then it makes you feel more like relatable. It's more relatable, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
um yeah, I generally just like characters that are um I don't know, they don't just have one goal. They have multiple kind of things they're trying to do at the same time, I guess. So um maybe they have political stuff they're trying to do, they have family stuff they're trying to do. um so I guess that's why I like some of the Game of Thrones characters are really interesting because they're not just singly motivated by one thing. They're trying to like juggle all these different things.
Right.
uh and then of course they get screwed over somehow. um yeah, that's really all the the types of characters specifically that I could think of. I mean, I like all sorts of different characters, I guess, but those were the only two that I actually had planned to talk about. But now that I kind of think about it more, um, I do kind of like. I'm thinking of like Final Fantasy and stuff like that, I guess. But
Okay.
like a Final Fantasy 4, for example, where like Cecil is like a dark knight. He starts off as a dark knight and then becomes like a paladin or whatever.
So like Jamie Lannister.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Jamie Lannister or the Darth Vader, kind of reverse Darth Vader, I guess. But I
Darth
like.
Vader is kind of a hard one to put in that category because you don't really see him be like good for long enough, I feel like. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I like characters that go from one kind of philosophy and then they flip to like something
Oh,
totally
right.
different.
Okay.
Um, and I guess that connects to my love of pro wrestling, which I know you don't like.
Absolutely despise. Yeah, you're correct.
but but one of the appealing parts for pro wrestling for me was what we call a heel turn, where a beloved character turns against another beloved character and becomes a bad guy. And one of the most famous ones was Hulk Hogan. He was the all-American. Everyone loved Hulk Hogan, and then he created this group called the NWO, where they all were bad guys and they beat up everybody. And that's considered like one of the biggest turns in history or whatever. So just from like different types of mediums, I've always liked when you have like a good character that suddenly turns bad, or you have a not suddenly, like it's a slow build, but or like a bad character that gets redemption in some way, like a Jamie Lannister, I guess.
Right.
um but yeah, the Jamie Lannister ending in the TV show, uh,
We don't talk about the Game of Thrones ending season.
that was not my preferred way.
I feel like I watched that and heard George R. R. Martin crying.
Yeah, I don't think he would have wanted that either. I mean, just from his writing, you would imagine like
No.
uh
But I heard they were kind of ignoring like his advice on like where he wanted it to go. But of course, when they don't have the written material, it's kind of hard for them to. The whole thing was a mess. I I don't know why you would agree to make. It just seemed like such a really dangerous idea to be like, we're gonna adapt this unfinished series, and you're gonna finish the books before we get there, right? Like,
we'll see.
what if he doesn't?
We'll
Which of
see.
course he didn't, and then we got what we got, unfortunately.
All right, well, what's your last one?
Yes, my last one. I don't know if there's a name for this. There probably is, but I have like the smart weakling written down. And so like the person who is not physically capable of doing much because they're just either untrained or incapable or not able to do something because of something else. So that could be like maybe they're in a school and they're the smallest person, or maybe they find themselves like constantly getting into fights, but like they don't have training with fighting, or they're in a specialized school like a magic school or something, but they don't have access to like the magic for some reason. But anyway, the idea behind the character is that they're always getting completely fucked over by something, but they're really smart. So then they're like navigating through it with like other clever solutions, you know. I guess Tyrion Lannister is another good example of that. But specifically, I was thinking of in the First Law, you have, I can never say the name correctly, I don't think, but I call him Jezal Dan Luther.
Hmm.
I've heard him called Jezel too, but that sounds weird. Anyway, I say Jezal. But I just really loved his character. He was my favorite in the series, and it was fun to watch what he did. I think Locke Lamora is another one that was like really, really interesting. I don't know if you've read those books.
No.
Okay. If you want a book with a really smart character who is completely incapable of anything physical, Locke Lamora is really good. And there was an assassin book, but I can't remember what it was. And it had like, that might have been Brent Weeks' series. I can't remember what it's called, Lightbringer. But I think that the first few books in that series were like really good for that. And then, well, let's just say that I've never written a bad review until I read the last book in that series. So
I think R.J. Barker, he has a series with an assassin character that has like a club foot.
oh, interesting.
So, um, obviously he's not like super agile assassin. I don't guess.
Right. I would imagine. I've never actually read anything by RJ Barker.
Yeah, I really like his stuff. You know, he's really funny guy too. We interviewed him a couple times. The Grim Tidings podcast, and he's always fun.
Right.
He likes antlers. He's like a big fan of like antlers of
Okay. I
different
mean, to each their own, I guess, right?
animals and stuff. Uh, yeah, but his writing is interesting because it's not typical kind of stuff, so it's worth looking into. Um, okay, so I think we covered all of our character types that we like. Of course, there's probably other things that we're just not thinking of right
Oh,
offhand, but
I'm sure there's a ton. I did
but
not spend that much time thinking, unfortunately, because I just didn't. But I know that I'm forgetting some amazing ideas that I just didn't come up with for some reason.
yeah, those were the ones that just came off the top of my head when I thought about different characters that I like. So,
Right.
um, so speaking of characters we like, let's kill our characters
Yes.
that we like or don't like,
Or don't like. Yes.
whatever the case may be.
All right. So today, Phil is going to be fighting a mammoth.
A
A
mammoth.
woolly mammoth. Yep.
Is it big?
It is very big.
Is it mammoth?
It's a mammoth. That's how big it is.
Oh, all right.
All right.
That's
So
pretty big.
that is pretty big.
So how am I going to kill this thing?
I don't know, but it looks like you might go first because the initiative was an 8.
Sweet.
Oops.
Well, where's my character? I'm going to actually click the initiative thing this time. Like a real player. Click
Look
it.
at you go. 21. All right. Well, you're first.
Nice. All right. mammoth. What kind of spell can I do against a mammoth that will slow it down? Well, invisibility would be the best choice. Can't use that though. All right, let's try this. I don't know if this actually will work. Make
Hideous
the
laughter.
make the mammoth laugh.
A creature with an intelligence score of 4 or less isn't affected. Well, fortunately for the mammoth, it has an intelligence of 3. So even if you succeed, it's not affected by it.
Oh, it's too stupid.
It's too stupid to laugh, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Which makes sense, since it is an animal.
let's do this then.
Fog cloud. Okay. So you create a 20-foot radius to your fog. Okay. Not sure if this is going to affect it at all. It
Yeah,
doesn't look like it has any
it?
negative effects other than creating fog.
Okay, I'm not casting any of this stuff yet. I'm just kind of clicking
You're
on
just
things.
okay.
All right, let's do acid arrow. I know that does damage.
Okay. So you need to roll a ranged spell attack. And he has an armor class of 13. So let's see.
How do I do a ranged spell attack?
Should be able to click right on the spell. If you go to and then you,
Oh, I click right on the spell. Okay.
yeah, it should work. Yep, there it is.
Ooh.
And then you click on the acid arrow. Well, actually, I guess you didn't penetrate its armor, but if you had, you click on the acid arrow and it would roll for damage.
Oh, okay. I see. So it missed.
I mean, do you think you missed a mammoth? You probably hit it and it just didn't penetrate its skin or fur.
Okay.
If you can't hit a mammoth, there's a serious problem, I think. All right.
Well,
Unlike most higher challenge rating creatures, it looks like he only has a single attack. He can either gore you or stomp on you.
oh,
Yeah. So we're gonna stomp. And what's your armor? 12.
12, yeah.
So he got 13, so he hit. This is going to hurt, I think. I gotta type this out. He gets to roll 4d10 plus 7. 33.
All right.
Okay.
Wizard paste.
You're wizard based. All right, 1 round survived. Ouch.
So
Oh,
I get
here, I'll show you this. The top link is what you will be rolling on to see what kind of random item you get. It's a challenge rating 6 creature.
all right. I'll exit the thing here.
Oh man. I thought that you'd have a better chance against him, but apparently not.
Challenge rating 6.
Yes.
Okay. I got a bunch of gold and silver, a brass bell, and an ivory game piece.
All right. You're rich.
Bullshit. Well, another splat on the arena floor. And this arena must be filthy at this point. I don't think anybody's cleaned the floor
We
at
could
all.
put blood all over it if we wanted to.
All right. Well, that ends today's episode. Thank you for watching. And as always, please check out John's books. You can plug them.
Oh, the Trials of Ashmount, and which actually just won an award for best villain, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then in the Indie Ink Awards. And then my second book in the same series, Buzzard's Bowl, comes out June 1st.
Okay.
Which
So,
actually, this episode might be out after that comes out.
I think it'll be out before it comes out. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot. We don't have a backlog right now, do we?
No. Day to day, we're doing this.
We're flying by the seat of our pants right now.
Yeah. So, as of now, if you're listening to this, that will be happening in a couple of days. And I don't have anything to plug except if you're interested in grimdark fiction, you can come over to the Facebook page, Grimdark Fiction Readers and Writers, and say hello. Until next time, thank you and take care. Bye bye.
Goodbye.